What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Finally, we're back with career mode. Apologies about the lengthy break between episodes. If you haven't seen the previous episode, the Monaco Grand Prix, go check it out right now. Some interesting things went down in that episode, but I won't spoil it. We're now heading off to the Canadian Grand Prix where, in all honesty, I don't know how I can follow up the act that was the Monaco Grand Prix. Anything that supersedes that Grand Prix is just going to be a bit of a letdown. To put it simply, I feel like the last episode was my greatest ever episode of career mode ever. But either way, we've got to move on now to bigger and better things. That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense at all. It's the Canadian Grand Prix. We have some wet weather for qualifying here, and yeah, hopefully we can show some of the promise that we did at Monaco. Something tells me, though, that it quite won't be the same. But either way, yeah, we're just doing a few laps here in intermediate conditions. It is set to dry up later on in the session, and completely just wrote off this lap. It was a bit average. It put us P8. Initially, I was just sliding around everywhere. I think it was past the point where the intermediate tyres were working. You know where you get with that phase where the tyres just get a little bit too hot and they just slide around, and there's not enough, I don't know, moisture in the circuit for the tyres to dig in properly. That's what it was like. And so, yeah, we were kind of just doing laps for the sake of it on the inters. I really should have got in my first flying lap right in at the start of the session in order to be competitive. But at the end of the session, it's still Q1. We're in P19 at the moment. Alonso, my teammate, is sitting right behind me in last as well. So we both have some work to do. But yeah, hopefully we should see a massive improvement on this lap itself. We're currently up by 3 seconds, and we've just hit the first sector split now, so I'd hazard a guess to say we'll improve by 10-15 seconds over intermediate weather time. So yeah, hopefully we can get ourselves out of Q1. I feel like in practice the pace was a bit wishy-washy. I think we might just be outside the top 10 in terms of like natural pace, so it will be a stretch to get ourselves into Q3 today, that's for sure. But so far on this lap, we're up by 7.5 seconds. Bit of a lock up into the hairpin. Not too bad though, as we rejoin onto the back straight and yeah, continue to stretch the legs of this upgraded McLaren Honda. The engine development, it's going all right. We've got the massive engine upgrade hanging our way for Belgium, don't forget, but we go through the final chicane, absolutely fly it through there. Alonso has got himself out of the danger zone. Can we get ourselves out as well as we come across the line to end Q1? It is P15, I believe it was, just scraping through, but unfortunately, with our time, we knocked out our teammate right at the death, so a bittersweet result there in Q1. Unfortunate that Alonso probably set his lap earlier than what I did in the session, and that resulted in him not ideally getting through. So again, Alonso kind of falls short in showing what he's capable of in qualifying. But we've got to move on now to Q2. We currently set a time that's good enough for P8 at the moment. We went for another run, and this one just wasn't that great. So we're probably going to have to do another lap, and we'll just cool things off. Let Valtteri Bottas go through, and if anything, we'll seal his slipstream on this next flying lap. So we'll see what we can do with a bit of help from the Mercedes here. And as we come to the start of the back straight, you can see we're up by 3/10, and that is only going to improve as we have massive slipstream from Valtteri Bottas, DRS to open as well. And just look at the delta in the top right-hand corner of the screen. It went from 3/10 to near enough 5/10 as we head into the braking zone for the final chicane. Thank you very much, Valtteri Bottas, for being a great sport. You might well have just got me through to qualifying 3. As we cross the line, it is P7. Thank you very much, Valtteri. That difference, it was at least 2/10 there that we got in terms of slipstream, and look at that. That literally was the difference. Just clearing Grosjean by about 2/10. So there we go. I'm not too sure how to feel about that now as we head into Q3. I feel like we are slightly underpowered versus the rest of the cars, but I'm still going to do the best job I can anyway. We pushed very hard, a little too hard into the final chicane. Just mounted the curb wrongly, hit the wall of champions, and we went across the line to set a time that was only good enough for last place, effectively, out of all the runners that set a time at that stage. But we headed out about 5 minutes later after we got the repairs done for the front wing. It started raining. I had absolutely no idea that this rain was on the horizon, and it just completely prevented us from getting any further times in. So that is the end of the session. I don't really feel like that would have affected the results anyway, because like I said, I don't feel like we belonged in Q3. We were just very lucky to get there in the first place. So it's P10 for the Canadian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, because we have made it to Q3, we may be compromised in terms of the race strategy, but we won't let that deter us too much. We'll see what we can do. Pace in the race should be hopefully better, so let's see what we can do.
Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
We're higher on the grid than we expected. Let's see if we can do even better.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Anything is possible in the race, as you guys saw in the last episode, so hopefully we can take advantage of any kind of incidents that might happen in this Grand Prix. Welcome to Canada. We're on the grid here in 10th place. Looks like we're still going to do the one-stop, so what I thought was going to be quite a compromised race strategy for us, turns out because the tyre deck is so low around here, it's not going to affect us anyway, so that is pretty positive to see that we can race on, be aggressive, and not be compromised in the process. So hopefully we can come away with some more points today. This track was, you know, penciled in to be one of my favourites this season because, as you guys know, the car is very solid in terms of, you know, its chassis and just like the foundation of the car. And there's a lot of slow speed corners around here in Canada, so I was expecting to be a little bit quicker than what I showed in qualifying. But we'll see how we go in this race. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the Grand Prix of Canada. Nice start versus Grosjean. We just got off the line very nice, and we've been tagged by one of the Toro Rossos, and we're basically in the barriers at turn 1. We just went millimeters close to the barriers there, but we rejoined in the race. It is P15 in this Canadian Grand Prix, but what was that start? Here's a replay. It looks like Grosjean gave us the final touch there as we got cannoned into the barriers. No, it was one of the Toro Rossos. I believe it was Kvyat who gave us a touch-up initially off the start there. Unfortunately, I couldn't go further back to show who initiated the contact. I think we both kind of came together in each other's lines. It was Carlos Sainz in the end who actually made the contact, not Danny Kvyat, so that's my apologies there. But Grosjean rejoined the track there a bit dangerously at turn 1, was a bit eager to get back on the track and, yeah, put himself in danger.
Quick tyre update for you. Everything's looking nice and tidy on our end. Let us know if you start to feel any issues. Just
checking up with Jeff there just to see what the condition of the car is like. It turns out there is no front wing damage or anything to worry about as of yet, so in a way, very lucky to get away with no damage there. We got up the inside of Alonso, and Jolyon Palmer took the initiative there as well to fly past him, and I think he's got that position as well. So a bit of a messy start. I can't remember the last time we got involved in a lap 1 incident in a career mode, but these are bound to happen sooner or later. We just got to, you know, bounce back from this, you know, as well as we can. It's P14. We've only lost like 4 spots, so in theory, it's not as disastrous as what it could have been. So we'll press on and see what we can make of this Grand Prix. We've got Massa, Magnussen, both the Toro Rossos in front of us as well. So it would be sweet revenge to get back in front of both those Toro Rossos and charge our way towards the points in the process as well. So in order to do that, we've got to find our way through the field, and with the lack of straight line speed, might make things a little bit tricky today. But next up, we got Felipe Massa. We'll try and chase him down if we can. We lose a lot of time on the back straight, it must be said, and so we have to do all the overtaking into the first corner. That's where we seem to get a nice exit off the final chicane. So we have to make things happen into turns 1, 2, and 3, those slow speed corners in the first sector. You can see there just how far ahead Felipe gets just on the back straight. That's ridiculous how much time we still lose in a straight line. So either I must be running too much downforce, or the car just isn't that great still with all the upgrades we put on it to be competitive in a straight line. But to be fair though, we do have 4 wings on, but yeah, we just seem to be lacking ever so slightly. But we're diving into the pits now for a new set of super soft tyres. We got the strategy change from the engineer. I thought, you know, let's give it a go. I mean, I was really struggling, and I mean really struggling on these ultra soft tyres. I think I was a little bit too aggressive with them in the opening laps, and I was just, you know, spinning up the rears way too much, and the tyre wear was just completely going out the window, and it was just not confidence inspiring at all. I kept losing the back end, so I thought it was worthwhile diving in early for the supers and seeing what we can do from here. It does mean we will be doing a 2-stop from here, But I don't think that's actually going to cost us, because we got a message from the engineer saying that we're going to have some light rain in about 15 minutes time. So that is probably the main reason why I dived in early for the supers, so we can make the most of that in this middle stint of the race. So lap 10, we're chasing down Pascal Wehrlein, who has started on his ultra soft tyres. His pace will be completely nowhere. You know, I was struggling on my tyres. The Sauber is about a second or two slower than us, and they've done even more mileage on their ultras. So we make easy work of him into the first corner. We actually breeze past him like he was standing still.
We expect to potentially see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
And again, just reinforcing the fact that weather is approaching, light rain in about 10 to 15 minutes time. It wasn't you know, forecasted to be in this race at all from what we saw at the start of the Grand Prix, but things quickly change in these races. You have a yellow flag as well through turn 1. I believe it's for Daniel Ricciardo, who is going a little bit slow into the first corner. It looks like it's probably engine or gearbox. And there was no smoke there, which is a little bit interesting. I think so far in this career mode series, I haven't seen any smoke billowing from cars. I don't know whether that's down to my PC running slightly lower graphics or not. But yeah, you don't see the plumes of smoke that you used to see on F1 2016, that's for sure. Meanwhile, we catch up to Esteban Ocon on the 16th lap. He also has a problem himself. I believe it's either brakes or a lack of front wing. I think it was no front wing on the car, which is why he was going so gingerly into some of those medium speed corners. He still hangs it in there though, around the outside into the hairpin corner, but we get the move done, and he won't be challenging us for the rest of this Grand Prix. Yeah, I thought it was weird how he made up so much time on Esteban, and the fact that he went so slow into the middle sector just, you know, raised the alarm bells straight away that he had a problem. But meanwhile, we had one of the Williams, I believe, and Hulkenberg dive into the pits for their next stop, and they rejoin just in front of us. So it's been a slight gain on those guys. It's going to be tough, though, for the remaining laps to challenge them now, as they have fresher tyres, and they're going to be very consistent on their softs. Meanwhile, we're fighting away with, is it Magnussen? Yeah, it must be Magnussen, because Grosjean had you know, a terrible first lap and is out of the game, essentially. But we run side by side with K-Mag. He has better straight line speed, and he takes 11th place off of us. So at this stage, yeah, we're getting to the end of the life cycle for these supers. I'm still holding out for the rain, which seems like it's taking an absolute age to show up. The sky is a little bit blue as well, so I'm just hoping, you know, praying that the rain, you know, starts to come down, and it starts to come down quickly, because the longer it takes for this rain to hit, the more and more it hurts us in this race, the more that people who just pitted start to get more of an advantage on us. And yeah, it's looking, I don't know, it's looking a bit dire at this stage. We're out of the points, P12, and nothing really suggests to me that we're going to make a comeback through the field at this stage. But because we let K-Mag go, he had pretty good pace, and he started to close up on Hulkenberg, who now goes side by side with through the first couple of corners, and we might be able to take Hulkenberg's spot as well. So K-Mag gets him around the outside in the first sector. Hulkenberg, I don't know what it is, whether he's got a problem himself or whatever, might be struggling for tyres himself, but we slide up his inside too, and we go up into P11. So a pretty wise move to let K-Mag go through. He punched a hole in the air and gave a slipstream and made his way through the field, and in the end gave us a position to, I think it was Hulkenberg. But now we find ourselves under attack from Jolyon Palmer this time, who made a pit stop about 5-10 laps ago, and he's shown incredible pace in the last couple laps to get past his teammate and now put me under pressure as we head on to the 24th lap into the hairpin. Again, we go side by side like we did with K-Mag to the outside, leaving a bit of space, but this time we get much better traction than our opponents. But that small victory didn't last too long, as yeah, Jolyon just flies around our outside on the straight with DRS, and fresher tyres outbrakes us into the final chicane. There are probably going to be people in the comments.
We don't think it's going to stay dry for much longer. The rain could come at any moment. Watch out.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. The rain is almost here, apparently. There's going to be people in the comments who say, like, why didn't you outbrake Palmer? The fact is, the tyres have been on this car for 20 laps or so, and you know, when you get to this stage where the tyres are at 50-60%, they really are not confidence inspiring, and you have to look after them, otherwise you just go sliding off the track and it's not fun at all. But lap 31, we're still waiting for the rain. We're still hoping it's going to bail us out of this Grand Prix. Still holding on to P12. There are just small droplets here and there the last, couple laps, and the grip, especially...
Are you considering switching to an alternate strategy? Do you want to change or stick to plan A?
The grip especially has been going off in the last couple of laps, and that is because the rain finally hit us. And you can see now that it's not that heavy, is it? I mean, looking at this now, I can totally see this being a massive mistake. I don't know why I decided to pit in. Actually, to be fair, as we head into turn 1, the rain does look fairly solid there, but still not enough. There's no puddles on the screen or even on the track. I've just made a massive mistake, and I think the reason why I did this is I was just waiting for the rain for so long. I was just hoping it would bail me out, and yeah, this move onto Inters was just out of sheer desperation, and was hoping that it was going to start chucking down really quickly to the point where it would force the AI onto the Inters as well. And yeah, we've put ourselves in this position where we've gone a lap down. We were going to be lapped anyway, I think, within a few laps, but the pit stop did put us a lap down, and yeah, now we find ourselves in P15 trying to defend from Lance Stroll, who lost his front wing on us as we came out of the pits on the previous lap, and he decides to bail out of that battle and go onto the ultra soft tyres for a new set of tyres and a front wing as well. So I had to try it. I had to go for the gamble because we were out of the points anyway, and I just didn't see any way back from there apart from switching to the Inters. But meanwhile, we were getting involved in a big squabble there between our teammate and also Marcus Ericsson, I believe. Unfortunately, I screwed over Alonso there, and he probably lost out to the Sauber in the end. So yeah, it's just not been a great day. Lance Stroll as well, after making a pit stop, flew past us at the hairpin. We go a lap down to Vettel as well, who gives us a little bit of a touch-up. So I can imagine not too many people in the paddock will be happy with me today, even you guys. That was just not a great drive today. We got involved on the first lap with one of the Toro Rossos. The strategy choices haven't been great either, and in the end, our points streak finally comes to an end.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in park for the mate.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So Lewis Hamilton, in the end, wins the Canadian Grand Prix, extends his winning streak at this place, both in the game and in real life. He absolutely loves this racetrack. But yeah, pretty disappointing performance from me today. I know you guys say it in the comments, but don't say sorry, don't apologize. Sometimes I feel like I need to, because you guys take the time to tune into these videos, and then I don't get the most out of a Grand Prix weekend, and we come away with no points. So I just feel like I do have to apologize sometimes, and that was one of those instances. But yeah, I think no matter what we did today, there was no way we could have lived up to the hype or done a better race than what we did in Monaco. There's absolutely no way. But driver standings, we dropped down to P6. Unfortunately, already lost that battle to Verstappen with Ricciardo's failure. Still keeps us in the game to possibly beat him. I mean, we do need some upgrades to head our way. We do have some in the pipeline. The ultimate engine upgrade, which is coming in a few races' time. We have 900 odd resource points, which I have sitting in the bank at this stage, and I'm not entirely sure where I want to spend those. So let me know down in the comments where I should. I'm currently thinking about doing another department efficiency upgrade for the downforce. Now, this is because the downforce upgrades are so expensive and there's so many of them. I feel like it's probably worth our time and effort right now to make those cheaper for Seasons 3 and 4. Because there's so many upgrades to do, and it will just make life easier for us in the long run. We're not going for the title this season. We're not going for anything significant. We're still building that momentum and just getting those upgrades in the pipeline for next season. So we move on to the end of the weekend. This is actually the start of Baku, actually. We get a message from Chris. And you can see the development. It's been a flat line ever since Bahrain. So, we haven't done anything. And the fact that, we won a race last episode, shows that, we really had to drive the nuts off the car to get that result. But, yeah, we have some resource points in our bank. Massive upgrades are coming. We're going to start working on downforce soon after we do the department efficiency upgrade. So, yeah, there's a lot to come. But at the moment, thing, we're just kind of holding off and just building up our momentum and, you know, those resource points behind the scenes. So things will happen. It's just going to take, you know, another race or two. But yeah, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And see plenty more F1 2017 videos. We've got the Azerbaijan Grand Prix coming up next. And you guys know what happened in that race last season. It was a complete write-off. So I'm not too sure how I should approach this upcoming episode. It may well be another write-off. It might be worth our while, worth our time just to completely skip it again, save the engine, save the mileage, get some more resource points, and just jump straight on to, I think it's Austria after that. But we'll make that decision when we get there, depending on how competitive we are. Thanks for watching. Until then, I'll see you next time.